baby, listen to the speaker. No matter what, just let it go.
Perswayable. What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody had a good weekend. Today is the edition of Monday's Questions with me. And, yeah, so you guys can always go to my Discord. We have over 400 members there. Or you can hit me up on Twitch. We have almost 900 follows on there. Whenever we do these sorts of questions, it's always in the Discord server. So this is where I get a lot of my questions from, as well from the YouTube. So you guys are all welcome to join us there. So it will help you actually find other people to play with too, and people who are watching the videos and people who are really trying to improve. So I welcome you there. And actually, this kind of spans into the first question. What are my plans this season? That's actually what my plans are. Right now I'm studying for my OT clinician board. So this season I'm kind of taking a break a little bit. I'm still a top 30 survivor. I'm a top 75 or top 80 hunter. Last season you guys are well aware that I was ranked first overall in the US. I was a former top survivor, former top 10 survivor. So yeah, this season I'm kind of taking a break. I'm actually spending a lot of time teaching other people how to play the game. I'm teaching people how to go and get better. I go on Discord every day, answer questions, come up with some good videos. So right now I'm also focusing on Hunter. But yeah, those are kind of my plans. This season I'm kind of taking a break. I want other people to rise up and kind of get better and better, and then I'll probably be back at it Season 3 competitively. Like I said, I've been playing a lot of Hunter, a ridiculous amounts of, and just to let you guys know, the Survivor updated tier list is coming out this week, and same with the Hunter. They're going to be two separate videos, so I can logically explain their positions. There are a decent amount of changes, and there'll be a little bit of footnotes as to what we're doing. Remember that the character tier list is based on United States servers, not Chinese, and it's based on mobile, not emulators or PC users, because you have different controls with that. Because the PC version is coming out soon. And if you guys want to put some input in that, by all means, again, the Discord, you can talk to me almost every day, the Twitch, etc. That's where we have all these sorts of debates, and we do clinical runs, not clinical runs, but we do runs where we gain information about the different hunters and survivors. And okay, so let's get to the other question. So that was a long answer to question 1. Question 2. Will forwards rank change? Well, you're going to have to find out for tomorrow. You know what? I'm going to leave it at that, because I think that their survivor ranks are going to come out tomorrow. So, 3. Dancer and black and white. So, the question is, do I think Dancer is going to be useful, and do I think black and white is going to be useful? No, I actually think both of them are going to be useless. Well, I mean, especially when we look at the Chinese servers, we don't really see them being played too much on a competitive level. So, Dancer, I think, is going to be, she's going to be new, but I don't think she's going to be worth using. And black and white, same thing. I don't think black and white is going to be really useful. For those who don't know, the Ripper, they're experimenting a buff change with him, where now he can use Foggy Blades, which is an area attack. It's slow, but it's an area. He just hits his basic attack, and you have an attack that comes out of his arm. Before, you would have to be in the fog in order to do that. Now they're buffing him, or they're experimenting the buff where he can just swing in the beginning and he has that area attack. So that really makes you wonder, what is black and white's purpose now? That's if they decide to keep the Ripper's buff. So I don't think either one is going to be really useful, so to speak. I could be wrong on the black and white, like I said, until it's over here in the US and we see how it's being played. But that's my prediction. I don't think Dancer is going to be useful either. So, question 3. A Priestess Guide. So, the thing with Priestess is that people want me to do a guide on all of the awesome spots on how to use a portal. Alright? Usually those people are using Priestess wrong. Right? You're like, wait a minute, what are you saying, Perswayable? So what I'm saying is that if somebody is trying to tell you where to put the portals, right, most of the time that's the wrong way to play her. You don't just put portals down with the Priestess in these big strategic areas. It's not how you play her. How you're supposed to play Priestess is that you're supposed to have as many portals as you can stockpile, and then if you have extra, that's when you can place them, right? So a lot of the times I see Priestesses just kind of running around putting portals everywhere and anywhere, and that's not how you play Priestess. Priestess, you need to make sure that you have at least 2 portals on you at all times. especially when late game in detention. I mean, that's what really separates a good priestess from a bad priestess. You don't want to just be putting portals down anywhere at any time. And also, if you're even going to remotely try to attempt to do a rescue, at least you'll have a portal on hand. You know, and there's a reason why I'm saying this. If you start kiting and you don't have any portals, you're going to be relatively easy to kill, alright? So what makes Priestess dangerous is her having her portals stockpiled, having at least 2 portals. I wouldn't say 3 because you can then use one and regain one. So typically you want at least 2 portals, right? And you'll have some priestesses that are just throwing all these portals around, but then that ruins your kiting ability. So then the next question is, where do I put the portals? And that's the entire point. If you're actively kiting, you have to use the portal wherever you are, if you have to, in order to escape the hunter. So there is no universal way where to put the portals. I know that there's videos out there showing you pretty cool tricks and tips, especially in Sacred Hospital, where you can put it on one side, it makes you go on the other side. Sure, I mean, do that if you can, but don't waste your portals. Don't just put it there for no reason. Now the question is, well, what if somebody else uses it? And the answer is, you don't know if anyone else will use it. So you want to always have at least 2 portals. Put that 3rd portal wherever you're at, just in case, so you have an exit strategy. And use it when you need to use it. Don't just throw them around and start throwing them around like candy. Okay, you need to keep your portals, and you use them based on when you need to use them, wherever you are at that present point in time. That's how you're supposed to use her. You have some priestesses that are you could technically go to the weakest part of each map and maybe put 1 portal down, but you need to be decoding. You don't want to be wasting your time trying to set up these awesome portals. When I'm on your team, I don't know where the portals are, right? And my kiting method has nothing to do with your portal placement. I'm not going to change 2,300 games worth of kiting maneuvers and routines and things that made me just so I can somehow get to your little portal. It doesn't work that way. No experienced kiters are going to really do that. Most of the time, too, I don't need a portal if you're a top kiter to get away, right? We already are always repositioning ourselves to constantly set ourselves up for hopefully 3 to 5 cipher kites. So use the portals for yourself. Make sure you have them on hand, because you never know when you're going to use them, especially late game when the hunter has detention. So that's my answer for the Priestess Guide, if you will. That's really all you need to know in order to use her. In terms of all these trick spots where you can use them, I mean, there are some trick spots that you can set up that can really help out your team. I guess Sacred Hospital, in the hospital where the balcony is on the lower level where that cipher machine is, sometimes putting one on the left side, because the right window is stronger than the left window. I wish I had gameplay. So putting one on the left side is better, because then you can climb out the right window and go around and go back through. Yeah, there's strategic places. Maybe I can do something like that, but for the most part, it's very basic with her. Keep your portals as long as you can, and always have an exit strategy set up. Okay, which hunter to get first? So this question is, I'm a new player. What hunter should I get first? In my humble opinion, I think the first hunter that you should get first is probably the Clown. I think that the Clown requires a lot of skill to use. But it's easier for you to use the Clown, in my opinion, than the Geisha, because the Geisha requires a lot of skill getting through the pallet. The Clown, although on top level tiers, the Clown requires specific attachment use. He has the largest hitbox. It's going to be easier for you to control him than the Geisha. So I would definitely go with the Clown. The Clown is one of the best hunters in the game, so you have a large hitbox, you have a lot of maneuverability. So yeah, go with the Clown. You'll learn a lot, right? You need to learn the game. So learning the game with the Clown and kind of being in the face of the hunters, or rather the survivors, is a good technique. Biggest advice versus the Clown. Okay. So, I get asked this question all the time. How do I counter the Clown? How do I counter the Clown? I'm going to tell you how to counter the Clown, and it's relatively easy. So, first, you need to know where the dangerous ciphers are and the not dangerous ciphers are, or the safe ciphers. When you hear the Clown, so typically, I gotta stop saying typically, but it is very typical for a hunter, a high tier hunter, to get a propeller and start charging right away. Alright, and the reason being, so for those who don't know, is when you use propeller, you have the infinite dash. A common strategy is for that hunter to use that propeller and start running around to get more attachments. Alright, so they're going to run around and try to get more attachments, but they're working their way, typically, I just said the word again, they're working their way towards the weakest area of the map. Alright, so they're building up their attachments, and they're working towards the weakest part of the map. How you counter clown is by pallets. If I'm on Arms Factory, for example, and I'm in a weak area of the map, and I hear the clown starting to charge, I actually sometimes will get off the cipher, and I will look in the open area to see where he's coming from, because I know he's most likely coming towards me. Alright, now you could say, well, you're not decoding at that point in time. Alright, and that is a true point, but vision is very important. So, if you're by a pallet, a lot of these hunters don't want to give up that first propeller. So if you're by the pallet and you hear them coming and you throw that pallet down in between you, right? I don't try to stun all the time, not against a clown. Sometimes they'll just run away from you and they'll run to the next person because the majority of their tactic is to really try to get a hit on that first propeller. Alright? So if you're by, and this is true for mechanic, this is true for any character. It is a stronger tactic when you are by a pallet rather than a window. Because you can put that pallet down, you can throw it down, and you can really put some space between you and that clown. Alright? So, if you're in a weak area of the map and you hear him running, sometimes it's easier for you to kind of strategize yourself towards that exit area. Because I would rather you take 5 or 6 seconds off the cipher rather than being hit first. Now, that doesn't mean get off of the cipher every time he charges. You have to dictate that correctly. You still need the decode. I'm not telling you to play ultra conservative. We need to get these machines down. But if I'm in a strong area of the map, a strong cipher, I keep decoding. I know that if he comes towards me, I have enough time to get to an area where he's not going to hit me. So, the answer to your question is repositioning, making sure that you're by that exit strategy. You can hear when he charges, and you can hear when he stops, when he hits something. There are two distinct sounds. So, if somebody's not actively kiting him and he's just running around, there's a good chance he's going to come towards you. And you don't want to wait till the last second, especially as a thief, because at that point you can be electrocuted. And then he gets a nice easy one-shot on you. A lot of hunters, a lot of clowns have blink, you're an easy two-shot death. So, to counter the clown is to make sure you don't get hit for that first time. And that means that if he's charging, don't always wait for your heartbeat to start, because you won't have enough time towards a charging clown that's all jacked up, even early game. He'll be able to really put that gap distance between you two. So repositioning is important. So you need to know the strong and weak sides of the map. You need to know which cipher machines you can keep decoding versus which ones you may want to get off for a second just to see if you can find him. That's why it's important that hunters kind of, or rather survivors, communicate. Hunter is near me. But that's really it. Be near a pallet. Get ready for him. You'll be alright. Put that distance between you and him. Don't let him get that first hit. When I'm playing a Joker, I can't tell you enough how many times people are like, oh, I'm just going to keep ciphering this machine. They allow me to get way too close and they're dead. Don't do that. Your priority is positioning. Okay. 8 versus 2, will there be a different character list? Yes, absolutely. So for 8 versus 2 or 2 versus 8, you're going to definitely get a better character tier list for that. So when I release the Survivor tier list and the Hunter's tier list, it's specifically going to say version 2.0 because it's my second one coming out, and it's also going to say specifically US and EU server, and it's also going to say for mobile devices, right? 2 versus 8, oh, and it's also going to say 1 versus 4. 2 versus 8 will have its own separate list, and we'll see what that looks like once the game mode comes here. It's going to be the same for the Hunters for the most part. Geisha versus Feaster. Well, you're going to see that tomorrow or the next day with our character tier list. So the same question with Perfumer versus Magician. You guys are going to see that. But there is something that I can answer with that. The question is, how do you use Perfumer endgame? Now, the good thing about Perfumer, so Perfumer's endgame isn't as good as the Magician's endgame if the Magician still has his wands, right? We know that with the Perfume, you're still a one-shot kill. So you really need to be able to activate it appropriately. So end game, really, it's just about that repositioning. That's it. If you have eyes on the hunter, if you have the announcement perk, you know where the hunter is at. You just play like a regular character, right? If you try to alter your playing style, your technique too much, then you're not going to exit. It's going to take you longer to exit, right? Like I think there was one YouTuber that was like, at the end game, make sure you're always, reposition yourself in the hospital. I'm like, you don't have time for that. You're giving the hunter more time. Regardless of your skill, you're giving him more time to get to you. Like, leave, exit, depending on what's going on. So that's really it. I mean, I just released a perfumer guide on how to use her. In there I address late game. She's not the best late game user. You're still going to use her for tight kite and etc. You got to be careful with that one shot kill. But every other survivor is like that. It's the same thing with Thief. What will you do with Thief? Right? So it's the same thing. Last question. Is Thief being phased out? A lot of these questions, my bad guys, this might be one of my worst question and answers, because we're literally coming out with the character tier list hopefully tomorrow for survivors, and we're going to come out with a hunter tier list the next day. I'm doing 2 separate videos for that because they're 2 separate arguments, right? And if I have everything on the one video, it's just too much. So we need to talk about each individual character, comparing these 2 characters to each other, and trying to do that in a survivor and a hunter is just too much. Too much for one video. So we're going to do, like I said, the 2 separate videos. And when you guys have, or if you have complaints, come to the Discord. I literally do question and answers, voice chat every single day. And we have a subscriber voice chat, and we have a general voice chat. The subscriber voice chat is for after our Twitch live feeds, and our general one is just whenever I pop in throughout the day. And this is where we have a lot of questions and answers, and regardless of whether it's game content or not. But yeah, so I wanted to answer some questions, and if you guys have questions for this segment, make sure that, like, again, on the Discord, that's where we get most of our questions for these. Some of these questions, I probably should have selected other questions, because I realized, we just decided this morning, I just got my personalized graphics from Geisha. Thank you, Eve, you're awesome. So I just realized that we're able to do our character tier list. I've been very patient with that. I've done a lot of research, a lot of stuff on that, so I'm excited for that to come out tomorrow. And yeah, alright guys, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask away in the YouTube comments. Again, for the 12th time, come visit me on Discord. Our Twitch is growing awesome. We have almost 900 follows on there. That's insane. So thank you very much, guys. Always a pleasure. And my video game content is going to be pretty much just me showing you how I'm doing in rank mode and whatnot. I'm busy this week trying to study, so I don't have too much time to do any of my video editing, etc. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and hopefully I have more content coming out throughout the week. Very excited for this week. Very excited for the content coming out. And you guys all have a good day. Take care now.